What's going on, guys? Gomes here, back again on another MLB The Show 20 video. Today we're going to talk strictly about Create a Stadium. This is probably the most requested feature in every MLB The Show game for the past, I don't know, 3-4 odd years, and especially for franchise and Diamond Dynasty. A lot of people want it no matter if you're an online or an offline player, and today I want to talk about how I think there could definitely be aspects of that in MLB 20, and as well how it could work. Now that the Twitch developer Livestreams has started, I believe this week it's going to be on Road to the Show. Pretty soon we're going to see the franchise one, and I would imagine that's where it's going to be first before we see it come into Diamond Dynasty or something like that, because there's a whole lot of different things that you have to consider taking it from an offline experience to wide open online. So I believe it would be a franchise feature first. But yeah, I want to get into this one. Let me know down below in the comments section how you guys think this could work, and what would you make out of it? How would you build your stadium? Make sure to leave a like down below on this video if you guys do enjoy. Definitely helps me out a ton, more than you could even realize, and subscribe to the channel. I know there's a lot of people watching these videos not subscribed yet. Make sure to do so. Have a lot of really good videos that I'm going to be coming out with soon, and want to try to hit 20k by MLB 20. Let's see if we can do it. Let's hit into the video. First and foremost, I do want to bring this to your attention if you are not aware of. This is something I cited in a previous video, but if you missed it, I'll go over it again. So Ramon is the community manager of San Diego studio for MLB The Show, and this was in 2014 with an article and interview from GotGame.com talking about the transition to the PS4, of course that being the first MLB The Show game coming into the PlayStation 4 8th generation consoles, and he had this to say: "It took us about 6 years to get mature on the PS3, PlayStation 3, and it'll probably take the same amount of time on the PS4, Russell said, but all the things that we couldn't do on the PlayStation 3 that we wanted to, like create a stadium and things like that, we'll eventually be able to do on the PlayStation 4. Though he didn't give a specific time frame, it sounds like baseball fans playing the show on PS4 may be able to slug out home runs in their own field soon." So once again, take this with a grain of salt. This does not mean it's confirmed coming or anything. Absolutely not. This was back in 2014, and this was before, you know, at this point they've maxed out, you know, for the most part, what we would think is the hardware capabilities of the PlayStation 4, because they've had so many years to get on it now. You would think that they would have everything figured out, and perhaps this was just a little bit of an overestimation, thinking, you know, maybe sometime 5, 6, 4 years from now we'll be able to do this. I still think there's a good shot. I definitely think with some of the things I'm going to recommend in this video that it can be done on this current hardware, and you don't have to wait until you get on the much beefier PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, and then, well, not Nintendo Switch. Not a chance in hell it's going to be able to run on the Nintendo Switch, at least the current variation of it. But yeah, there is something to build off of on that article, and it really should give you some hope. But once again, by all means, it is not confirmed, but do be thinking about it. Now, getting on to what could we possibly see in MLB The Show 20 that would be realistic as far as Create a Stadium goes, because like I said, I do think there is a very good chance that that kind of thing could be in there. I'm gonna take the cat out of the bag. I really do not think Dimensions is gonna be something that they would play with, no matter when it comes out, the first year that it is released, because this is something that is gonna be very testy, especially like I was mentioning for online. You would have somebody just make a mega polo grounds, having it 150 feet at the poles and then 600 to center. There would obviously have to be restrictions, and there's a whole bunch of other physics that you have to play with as far as that goes. I do think if this came the first year, it would probably be preset dimensions. Maybe they would have like 5 different variations, where one, maybe they have a really short right field porch. One, it might be pretty deep, maybe like 420, 430 out to center field. They would just have presets, so you can't do it yourself, because that would be very hard. I wouldn't expect that. Billboards and advertisements is something absolutely that I think they would be able to do right now. I don't think that would take much trouble. I don't think that would take much developing because I believe that's something that you do, or it is with the sponsorships on franchise. I know it messes with the scoreboard and everything like that. You'll see like a Nike logo on there. I really don't think there's any reason to believe that we couldn't see a Nike billboard, a Nike advertisement on the stadium be replaced with something that you want. Of course, at first, I would expect that it would be one of the assets they have in the game. So they have a lot of brands. I think they got Fanatics as well this year, or maybe it was MLB 19, but you can just switch around those billboards, and I think that would be a good place to start. You have your create a logo asset already in the game. You already have that feature. That would be something perfect to utilize for a create the stadium mode. So I think that's one of the easiest things that they could do right now. The exterior design and views, what you see outside of the stadium. So I'm going to pull up a couple of those right there. Once again, this is something that would have to be a preset. This is not the Sims video game. We're not going to be building infrastructure. I don't expect that. I took a look at, like Coors Field, the outside and Target Field, something I'm very familiar of. I've been there a lot now. I live in Minneapolis now. I know what the exterior of Target Field looks like. You see Target Center in the background. Maybe if you just take the minor league stadium, because once again, I think that would be easier to do than maybe take some of the backgrounds of the, nice voice crack by the way, Gomes, take the backgrounds of some of the MLB stadiums. So, and I think that'd be more creative as well. Take the back of the Bayfront Park, take some of the mountains that we have. I think one is Water Ridge. There's just a ton of them out there that I'll throw on the screen that are very unique and would be very cool to start off a new franchise with. Scoreboards is another thing that I think probably wouldn't be too difficult, and it always is really a centerpiece of any ballpark. They're pretty unique usually. Some of them are kind of synonymous with another one. The only differential variation between another is the size, whether it be the width or the height of them. But you have creative ones like you have the Kauffman Stadium or the Coors Field where it looks a bit different. And then I also looked at some of the Cubs scoreboards, of course, the ones that are a little bit more old-fashioned. I think once again that is something that you could take and be able to use with your own ballpark, and it probably wouldn't be all that difficult. Once again, I don't know exactly. I'm not in there. I'm not a developer. I would never be a developer because I have no idea as far as that goes. I'm clueless as far as coding and everything goes. But as far as taking assets and putting them somewhere else, I do believe that's something that could be done, and it would be very cool. We have so many different scoreboards that you could just kind of pick around and choose from. The colors of seating, this is something that probably wouldn't be all that difficult, and this would factor in with what we have in franchise. What we know is coming is relocation and refranchising, changing your colors, changing your uniforms, changing your logos. Let's say if you let's move the Rays to Montreal. It's happening. We're bringing back the Montreal Expos. We can change the color of seating to red or blue maybe to fit their colors. That doesn't really have the same, coloring as the Tampa Bay Rays do. I don't think this would be that difficult, and really it's not a huge feature. You don't see the backs of seats all that much. At Tropicana Field you do, because there's usually nobody blocking the way of the seats as in maybe Yankee Stadium. But I think that would be cool as well, and it would just fit the rest of your team. And once again, I don't think it would be that difficult to do. I think you could do that on prior MLB The Show franchise games. So yeah, there's another feature. Quickly want to bring up MVP Baseball because this is the last MLB game license that I do believe had a create a stadium feature within there. And it was pretty bare bones. It wasn't all that great, but once again, we don't have one currently in MLB The Show, and I think it could work a lot like that. They have pretty much all presets, and there's not a whole lot of them. I would be very happy, and I think most of you would be very happy if we could just have 4, 5 presets for different things. Like they had colors of walls and stuff. They had the name of your ballpark, which of course would be important as well. I would like if you could have like a sign saying Gomes Ballpark or something. That's a lame name. Nobody would probably attend that, but you would have the name of your ballpark. Wall heights, once again, that would have to be, kind of restricted a bit. I don't know, probably the green monster is the tallest that you'd be able to have it, but once again, that was a feature they had in MVP Baseball. The wall texture, you know, like the ivy, a brick layout, or kind of padding that they have in most walls of MLB ballparks. And then the exteriors, like I said, there was a bay one kind of reminiscent of Oracle Park, formerly known as AT&T Park, where the Giants play, or more of a cityscape, or more of, you know, trees and kind of like the minor league stadiums that we see. And what would make this all the much sweeter is if you tie this in with franchise, the stuff I talked about, the taken out the removed features where you could set prices on seats, on tickets, on parking, on concessions, on jerseys. I think that would be so cool because you could, I don't know if you'd really be able to make your own shops, like the different grills and different eateries in your ballpark. Not really important, you're not going to visit that, but I think it would be cool and just makes sense. You're making your own ballpark, you should be able to set the prices of the ballpark as well. So I think that would be a perfect, get it? Perfect. That'd be a perfect tie-in. And like I said, I don't think the stuff that I mentioned, it is all pretty bare bones. It is not building from the ground up. You know, if you think about just what an MLB stadium is as a whole, what I mentioned is more of just customizing different visuals that you'd already see within an MLB park. Advertisements, billboards, colors, wall texture, that's something that you can all do visually and you don't have to do a whole lot of asset creating. So are we going to see this in MLB 20? I really hope that we do start to see building blocks to it. I've mentioned this a lot of times. I think MLB 20 is going to be huge, but I think it has to be because this is the year before we're going to see it on new platforms, and I agree. There's probably so many people that are sold already just on the fact that we're getting an actual baseball game on different platforms that isn't RBI baseball. I'm pretty sure they're going to buy it by that standpoint alone. But if you had this kind of thing, and if you have somebody who isn't a big offline or a big online player, they're more of a franchise guy, this is really going to draw them in. And if we don't get it, I'm not going to be too heartbroken. A lot of people I've seen say, how does MVP Baseball, a game that came out in 2005, 2006, how does that have created a stadium and current day MLB The Show does not? You have to remember the pure size, the pure magnitude of video games are so much larger than people at that point in the PS2 era could even envision. I mean, hell, this game, MLB 19, is 75 gigabytes. But I wanted to make this video as an open journal expressing how I think Create a Stadium could be implemented just this year. Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts and opinions. Leave a like if you guys did enjoy this one. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks, and Saudi.